Portkeys is easily one of the most reputable brands when it comes to camera monitoring tools, so you know it's going to be good build quality. It's going to be something you can really depend on, because trust me, bro, trust me, I would know. And I'm only saying trust me because I have thoroughly tested this thing. I mean, I've tested this thing so much when it comes to, you know, the build quality that I even have a cage for it, because it was getting really crazy out there in the field. The Portkeys LH5P version 2, and it's the main monitor I use for my Sony FX3 and Sony a7 IV. So let's look at the body. We have a 5.5 inch 2200 nit touchscreen monitor. Obviously it can display up to 4K. When you look at the top, you have 4 function buttons. Those function buttons are just like your camera. They can be customized to whatever you want. Something like, you know, peaking, your LUT, your false color. So I already love that. Obviously in the middle you have your on off switch. When you look to the right of that top of the screen, you have that menu. You have the plus and minus button that helps you up and down, you know, navigate through the menu. And of course you have your exit. Everything has to have an exit button when you're dealing with menus. Although you can fully use this thing just utilizing the touchscreen. In the bottom of this monitor, you know, in the booty area, you have your DC 7 through 24. So that means you can use like a Limo pin. I actually ordered one from Amazon. I'm going to have that down in the description below because it doesn't come with this. What it does come with is that control cable. So you'll see on the left side of this monitor you have that remote A, and I'm pretty sure you can get a 5-pin Limo control cable on the side because you have remote B here. But here's where I like to power the monitor, and for some reason we have a USB A. Give me a second. Okay. All right, let's see something. What year was USB A created? That says Universal Serial. Okay, all right, 1990. Let me see. Okay, what's 10? Okay, all right, almost 20 years. Okay, almost 20 years. When I turn this thing to the left, you'll see that we have that HDMI in, HDMI out. You have the headphone jack in case you want to directly monitor your audio through the monitor instead of your camera. Then we turn over to the right. We have a fan. I don't know if you know this, but in 2024, having a fan is like quintessential for your gear. Obviously on the back you have that Sony MPF battery. All you have to do is link that in and bow, and you'll turn it on, and you should be able to hear the fan initially come on. You just heard that right there. Okay, it is on high. It can get pretty loud if you have it on high, but you can indeed turn it down. So I'm gonna come over here and we're gonna turn that fan speed down to low, and there you go. That's fan speed low. It's fan speed high, so you can turn it low, high. But I haven't had any type of overheating issues when I've used the fan on low, even for a long period of time. I am so disappointed to say that this video right now is about 2 months apart from me originally recording the Portkeys LH5P II video, but that's okay. Also, new digs, we have redesigned the studio, but that is besides the point. We'll get to that later. What I wanted to do is go through the new software, because in that time, you know, when I originally recorded this video, Portkeys has a new software interface with this thing that works tremendously. All right, it works way better than that archaic software that they had. So I'm recording on 3 cameras just for you to make sure we go through everything. I'm actually using Portkeys' BD1 to power my wireless transmitter that is also being transmitted, you know, from the FX3. So you'll be able to see me in the camera talking to you, talking to me, talking to you. So first thing is we're going to touch the screen. When you touch the screen, we have an entirely new software interface. So instead of having these random pages, you can control your motor, and all you have to do is hit back. You can go to your LUT. If I want to turn a LUT on, obviously it's going to look bad because I have a LUT already on. So I'm going to turn that LUT on. I can turn it off. That looked terrible. You can also get to your LUTs easily. Everything is touchscreen now, unlike the original software, which was usable, but I wouldn't say it would be a friendly experience. It felt like Windows 98, let's be honest here. So we can go to the camera. Guess what? On here you can connect any camera. We have selections of Zcam, E2, we have the Blackmagic, we have Canon, we have Sony, and guess what? Usually with Sony cameras you can connect through Wi-Fi. So they do have a Wi-Fi and a USB connection to be able to control your Sony camera on the actual, you know, interface. Now I was telling you, on the top of this thing, you have your function buttons. Now we can see those function buttons that are at the top. They're already on the screen here. So I have my peaking. All right, easy. I have my zebras whenever I want. I have my false color whenever I want. I can turn it on and off. I have my grids whenever I want. I can turn it on and off. Easy. All right. Oh my God. They should have done this a long time ago. Speaking of functions, if I want to, I can hit that F and I can actually change those functions to anything I want to. So whatever your favorite attributes and your favorite features for monitoring are, you can actually change it, and you can make sure they are F1, F2, F3, or F4. Next section, we're going to go to the functions. So originally in the software, we had these functions and you can move them all over the place, and they were on the side of the screen, but now they're at the bottom. So at any given time, I can turn on that peaking right here. All right, any given time, I can turn it off. I can go to zebras. I can turn it on and off. Easy. I can go over here to false color. I can turn it on. Then I can choose my array style or my user style, or I can just turn it off and I can go back. Again, completely new user interface. Luma waveform on, and I can also change my opacity, my brightness, all the things that you would need for your true monitoring tool. So we're going to turn that off. We're going to go to RGB waveform. Same thing. I can turn it on and you can see that RGB waveform. I'm going to go back to the Luma so you can actually see that too. So I'm going to turn it on. You can see the Luma waveform. Great. Okay. So going back to the function, we're going to turn this off. We're going to turn off the RGB waveform. Then you can also have audio meter. So I'm going to turn it on. You'll be able to see that audio meter coming up right here on the side. Hopefully you can see it on the screen, but either way, extremely useful. Now on the settings page, you can change all these attributes. You can change that brightness. Obviously we can bring it all the way back up. I'm gonna bring it back down to that 50 where it was. So you can change the contrast. You can change the chroma. Guess what? When I swipe right, now we have things like our anamorphic settings. So if I want to, I can change that anamorphic settings that already preset one time, 1.33, 1.42. You know, we have 1.5. Some people have that 1.8. They don't have a 2 times anamorphic that is set in here from what I see. Oh, never mind. I did a swipe. I didn't even know that. This is news to me. You have 2 time anamorphic. That looks terrible on the monitor. Look at that. Look, that looks terrible. So when we want that off, all I have to do is go back to setting and make that swipe here. So now I'm going to turn off my anamorphic setting. All I have to do is swipe, and I'm just going to hit 1 time and we're back to normal. You can also change the color temperature, and of course for a lot of you that are wanting that 2200 nit brightness, this is where you have that backlight, so we can turn that backlight all the way up for those sunnier days when you're outside working with this thing. But yeah, I always keep it around 1 to 4 just so I can see the screen inside. From there you have your display flip. Of course you have the manual flip, but you can also turn it to auto. Right now apparently it's think that we're upside down because it does feel a little upside down, so I'm going to hit auto again, but you can literally change that flip manually, of course, and that vertical flip easily. Let me go here. Very easy to do. When we go to system settings, this is your regular stuff, your English. You can change the language here, and they have various languages in here. Come on, man, I'm very American. I know a little Spanish, poquito, not a lot, so we're not gonna worry about that. You can do your OSD, transparency. You can also do your system reset. Here's your fan. What's cool is instead of how it used to be where you can just have 2 settings, you actually can turn your fan up into multiple settings. So you can, let me let you hear that fan. So you should be able to hear that fan. You probably can't hear me, but you can turn that fan up and down. We're at 1. We're gonna bring it back to 1. Okay, so you don't have just that 2 setting system now like you were on the old software. You can actually, completely control that fan speed. Sound configuration, there is a port in here, audio port, headphone jack, and that's what they call it in 2024 and probably in 1999, 1992. I'm getting my life together, guys. Obviously a lot of changes are going on, so I'm all over the place. Either way, the sound configuration, you can change that, and of course, you can change the firmware update. You can change the firmware. You can do your firmware updates directly through the USB that is on the body. A couple other features that I noticed, I'm going to show you something. So I love that, again, it's a modern system. All I have to do now, you see there's a battery symbol up here. If I press that battery, you're able to see the attributes as far as like how much battery life you have left. And to me, that is extremely important. Right now, you see that 15.7. And the reason why that's there is because I have it connected to a V-mount battery so that I can power the wireless monitor also. I'll also make sure to have some footage in here showing you how it looks to control the camera with your monitor monitor completely. Very cool tool. You can also control autofocus. Like I said, extremely cool tool. I don't often use that feature because I just control it through the camera. I just want the monitor there to monitor, of course. All right, so I just moved me over here to the side just so we can have a conversation. So I want to talk about why you would have a monitor. A lot of you are living your lives without a monitor. All right, and I don't know why. And the reason why I think it's so useful is because you need to be able to get an accurate look of what your footage is going to look like. And it's really hard to do so on these small monitors that Sony puts in their cameras, Canon puts in their cameras. Having a small monitor, that's the reason why people love the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, is because of how large the on-body monitor is. You can see everything and it's really high quality. So it's so good to have a monitor, because I know there have been times, especially on the side of exposure. Now, don't get me wrong, I've gone by just using my on-camera monitors, but I'm just saying this monitor here on the Sony FX3 is not nearly as big as this monitor here or any other 5 or 7 inch monitor. You're just getting, you know, probably 3, 4, sometimes 5 times the real estate that you can look at to get the most accurate picture. So I don't care if you're spending money on a Portkeys monitor, small HD monitor, an Atomos Ninja. I have one over here, a Field World monitor. I don't care what the brand is. It's just a lot more useful to have some type of monitor. So I think there's no excuse to not have a monitor. There are monitors that are $100 now. Portkeys actually makes a PT6 and a PT5 that are almost like smartphone size that are like $100 and something. There's no excuse to not have a monitor now. Please go and get your monitor. It will come in handy far more than you think. Now let's talk about price really quickly. I wanted to look it up because they had to do a restock because they wanted to ship out their new versions of this monitor with the software already installed. So this now is $400. It is a $400 monitor, very comparable to something like the Atomos Ninja 5 and the Atomos Shinobi, those things. But I like this monitor better. And the reason why is because I used to have problems out of all of my Atomos Ninja 5s. I'm saying all of because I owned 2 of them. Not all of them, but I owned 2 of them. And throughout the day, if I used it for more than maybe 3 or 4 hours, it would overheat and part of the screen would just black out. That would happen to my first one. So I was like, maybe it's just a faulty unit. So I bought another one, okay? And when I bought the other one, it did the same thing. And I was just like, okay, turn the fan up, I just got sick of knowing that, you know, before the end of my shoots that my monitor was going to completely black out. So this is a great budget option because of the build quality. It's a great budget option because I've never had an overheating issue out of this thing. It's never had, you know, moments where it just blacked out on one side. None of that. This thing has worked perfectly. I've owned it for over a year now. And I'm doing this review because, like, I have all this gear that I've purchased that have helped me in my business, helped me in my process. So I'm trying to review all the gear that I have, you know, before I start reviewing new gear that's coming out. I want to show you what I actually use in real life. But at $400, you're getting all the monitoring tools you're looking for. You're getting that LUT control, you're getting camera control, and you're getting a very, very modern user interface. And guess what, man? Portkeys is also like extremely supportive. Like, if you want to be part of a supportive community, obviously, you know, you have brands like Small HD that are like that, but to get something at this price point that is almost comparable to those, of course, the Small HD ones have big metal bodies, but for this thing here, man, like, I highly recommend it. And guess what? There's another version of this monitor, the 7-inch version. Guess what? It is even cheaper. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it's even cheaper. I do have a review coming with that monitor too, and that is the LH5P. But damn, that's a spoiler alert on what one of the next videos is going to be. Either way, links are down below, you know, for this monitor. Links are also going to be down below for the control cable, just in case you want that, because I did mention that a couple months ago when I recorded the original video. I'm also going to put the BD1, the Portkeys BD1 down in the description below because it connects to, obviously, the monitor. Then there's an MPF on the other side that connects to your wireless transmission system. And then that BD1 can also take power delivery. So at the same time as powering your monitor and your wireless transmission system with one system instead of having multiple cables. And the cable it comes with is a typical DC to D-tap, easy, standard business. You know how to work it. Either way, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. I love y'all. Do you see this crater on my head? Do you know how obnoxious this is? And I didn't feel like recording today. I saw that. I'm like, what, you want me to be on camera today? Of all days, this thing looks like a unicorn.